Okay, good day, grade 10. So, what I want you to do, open up this PowerPoint and head up your page. So we're going to look at coastlands, okay, and the different processes that occur at coasts. Now, before we start though, you kind of need to define what a coast is, and that is this area where the land meets the sea. Now, you might see some different definitions as we go through. That's the kind of the most basic one there. And there are many different shapes and features. You can see there's like a cove here, stacks, arches, and headlands that pop out. We will talk about them and find out how these develop over time, okay? But we need to know about these three processes that go on at the coast, okay? Now, there is erosion, so the land is broken up by wind and water that breaks up the coastal material. Now, at the coast, there is a lot of wind due to it, as we've talked about previously, and there's a lot of water, as you know, from the ocean. Transport, so the ocean moves this material, so it goes from one place to another, and the process is done, we will go over this again in the future, is longshore drift. And thirdly, deposition, so it's that idea that broken materials finally dropped in a new place, and that creates other landforms, and we'll talk about that in probably next week for deposition. So, as you can see, here we've got this like overhang that cuts over here. It's been cut underneath. What do you think is going to happen in the future? Yeah. Now that's pretty deserted. So I could say, oh, who cares? But went on this geography field trip, and there was a hotel that was just on the edge. Okay. And if you go to that hotel now, it's not there anymore. Okay, because the land has been taken away, and something similar to this has happened. Okay, that's not actually the hotel I was talking about, but you get the idea. Now, we're going to find out first about these waves, okay? And what do you think these places have been, what do these places all have in common? Now, the answer is that they are all where the surfing championships in 2016 took place. Now, for surfing, you need big waves, so why would these areas have big waves? Okay, I'll give you a second to think. Now, you can watch a video here about the biggest wave, but there's actually been a bigger one since then. But yeah, you can YouTube that down. How are waves caused? What are the three things that decide the size and energy of waves? Where is it good? Now there's a link at the bottom. Put that into Google, and you will be able to watch the video that gives you the answers. Now I've got the answers here. Fetch is the distance of open water. So now if you look at these places here, there's a lot of open water here. So for the Atlantic crashing across here, across the Pacific Ocean, that's why Eleuthera here has that large fetch. That's why it's able to a few places where you can have surfing in the Bahamas. Strength of the wind. The stronger the wind, the more powerful the wave is. And finally, how long the wind blows for, okay? So copy down those three. Now just imagine you were sat on this beach, and obviously you can't do that at a minute, but what would the waves be doing, and what would it sound like? Okay? And you might be thinking that's a bit of a weird thing for me to ask you to do, but that's because these two processes are really important. We've got this swash, so swash, and then this backwash as it goes back. So when a wave breaks and rushes up the beach, this is called swash, and as it goes back out to sea, this is the backwash. Okay, and now it's kind of a balance between this swash and backwash that decides on what processes and what landforms are created in that area. Watch this video here, okay? You watch that video, and then you'll be able to fill out this sheet here. You can make down these notes here. When a wave breaks, rushes up the beach, this is called, I'll let you put that in. And when it goes back, what type is it there, okay? So when swash, coming up, is greater than the backwash, okay, do you think more or less material is deposited on the shoreline? So put that in. When swash is greater, more or less is removed. Notice how it says deposited here, this one says removed, okay? Choose the option that's correct. Waves can be constructive or destructive, okay? Now constructive, got some pictures to help you, like to construct, to build, destruct, to break down. Now if I showed you this picture here right at the start, we can see that there's probably been some destructive waves going on here, okay? Now we compare these constructive and destructive waves here. So there's a lot to do with the constructive have longer wavelengths, so the distance between the peak of each wave, and so there's a lot of swash, so it brings material up onto the beach, and the backwash is not so strong, okay? Now these taller and we've got shorter wavelengths, taller waves, steep gradients, these are going to come crashing in, and there's going to be kind of weak swash that's going to go over it. It's not bringing in the material, but then it's going to bring that material back down, okay? That strong backwash, and the beach becomes eroded, okay? Causes erosion along. Now this goes through it here, so you can look at this, and it talks about wave refraction, so look at that worksheet, go through and highlight. It compares constructive and destructive, okay? So go to page 300, and it talks about those processes, okay, in New Wider World. Types of erosion then, so try and match these together. Pause the video. So yeah, we can match them up. So solution, we've done that a lot recently, so that's why I feel like water dissolves, okay? Hydraulic action, okay? And this is water being forced into the cracks, okay? Abrasion, okay? And so like sandpaper being thrown against and wear away. And then attrition, rocks colliding, so remember those fist bumps, okay? And it goes through on that worksheet, those definitions. Okay, so we've gone through the processes. We'll just take a break there, and then we'll go on to lesson 2.